The gun barrel felt cold against her temple. 3 military cadets stood over her in the dim parking lot, their laughter echoing off the concrete walls. They thought they had cornered an easy target. A woman alone, late at night, vulnerable. What they didn't know was that the woman kneeling before them with her hands raised wasn't just anyone. She was Lieutenant Commander Sarah Mitchell, a Navy SEAL with 8 years of combat experience in the most dangerous war zones on Earth. And in exactly 7 seconds, their entire world was about to collapse. But let's rewind. Let's go back to how this nightmare began. Sarah had just finished a grueling 14-hour shift at the Naval Training Facility in San Diego. She was exhausted, her body aching from running drills with new recruits all day. As one of only a handful of female Navy SEALs in the entire United States military, she faced constant scrutiny, constant pressure to prove herself. Tonight, all she wanted was to go home, take a hot shower, and sleep. She walked across the nearly empty parking lot toward her car, her footsteps the only sound in the darkness. That's when she heard them, voices, young and cocky, filled with that dangerous mixture of alcohol and arrogance. 3 cadets from a nearby military academy stumbled out from behind a van. They were supposed to be the future of America's armed forces, but right now, they were just drunk teenagers looking for trouble. The tallest one, a kid named Tyler with a buzz cut and a sneer, spotted Sarah first. "Hey there, beautiful," he called out, his words slurred. "Where are you going all alone?" Sarah didn't respond. She'd dealt with this type before. Boys playing soldier, thinking their uniforms gave them power. She kept walking, keys in hand, eyes forward. But Tyler wasn't used to being ignored. His ego, inflated by too many beers and his friends egging him on, couldn't handle the rejection. He moved faster, blocking her path. His 2 friends, Marcus and Jake, flanked him on either side. "I'm talking to you," Tyler said, his voice harder now. "You deaf or just rude?" Sarah stopped, her eyes meeting his. In that moment, she assessed everything: their positions, their body language, the smell of alcohol on their breath, the way Tyler's right hand kept twitching toward his belt. These weren't just drunk kids anymore. They were a threat. "Move," she said quietly, her voice calm, but carrying an edge sharp enough to cut steel. Tyler laughed. That's when he made his first mistake. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a pistol, stolen from his father's collection, loaded and real. He pointed it at Sarah's face, his hand shaking slightly. "How about you move?" he said, trying to sound tough. "On your knees." His friends laughed nervously, unsure if this was still a joke or something darker. Sarah's expression didn't change. She'd had guns pointed at her before. By terrorists, by insurgents, by people far more dangerous than these 3 idiots. But she knew something they didn't. She knew that drunk teenagers with guns were unpredictable, and unpredictable meant dangerous. So she knelt, slowly, hands raised, and she waited. Tyler felt powerful. He felt like a god. Here was this woman, this nobody, kneeling before him like he was some kind of king. He pressed the gun against her temple, leaning down close enough that she could smell the cheap beer on his breath. "Not so tough now, are you?" he whispered. Sarah's eyes flickered to his hand. His finger was on the trigger, but his grip was wrong, his stance was wrong. Everything about him screamed amateur. She counted heartbeats. 1, 2, 3. "You should know something," Sarah said softly, her voice almost gentle. "Shut up," Tyler barked, pressing the gun harder against her skin. "I'm giving you a chance here," she continued, still calm. "One chance to walk away." Tyler laughed again, looking back at his friends. "You hear this? She thinks—" He never finished the sentence. In one fluid motion, Sarah's hand shot up, redirecting the gun away from her head, while simultaneously striking Tyler's wrist with devastating precision. The gun clattered to the ground. Before his friends could even process what was happening, Sarah had swept Tyler's legs, sending him crashing onto his back, the wind knocked from his lungs. She had the gun in her hand now, unloaded the magazine with practiced ease, and tossed both pieces in opposite directions. Marcus tried to rush her. Big mistake. Sarah sidestepped, used his momentum against him, and sent him sprawling into a parked car with a move that would make any Krav Maga instructor proud. Jake froze, his hands up, suddenly very sober and very aware that he'd made a terrible, terrible mistake. Tyler was gasping on the ground, clutching his wrist, tears streaming down his face, not from pain, but from the sudden, crushing realization of what he'd done, what he'd tried to do. Sarah stood over them, pulled out her military ID, and let it drop onto Tyler's chest. "Lieutenant Commander Sarah Mitchell, United States Navy SEALs," she said. "You just pointed a gun at a decorated combat veteran and a federal officer." The color drained from all three faces. Within minutes, military police arrived. Sarah had called them while keeping all three cadets on the ground. Tyler's military career ended before it even began. Dishonorable discharge, criminal charges, the works. His friends faced similar fates. Their families were notified. Their futures, once bright with promise, were now stained with stupidity and assault. But Sarah didn't feel victorious. She felt tired. Tired of proving herself. Tired of being tested. Tired of the fight that never seemed to end. As she finally drove home that night, she thought about all the young people who looked up to the uniform, who dreamed of serving their country, and she hoped, truly hoped, that the next generation would be better. That they'd learn respect not from having it beaten into them, but from understanding that strength isn't about dominating others. It's about protecting them. That's the difference between a bully with a gun and a Navy SEAL. And that night, 3 cadets learned that lesson the hardest way possible.